Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Talking Locs podcast with Locitude. This is the Everyday People with Locs series, and I am your host, Ade Balogun. This episode is produced by Savage Media. Today, we'll be keeping this episode chilled and very joyful as we discuss Locs and Love. Joining us is a lovely locked couple who recently tied the knot to happily ever after. Isabella and Michael Adediji. Isabella is one of the most expressive people I have ever met. She is a media entrepreneur and educationist, and while Michael is a creative lead and director at a marketing communications agency, he's also a singer and songwriter at heart. It's such a pleasure to have them on, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Hi Isabella, hi Michael, Mr. Melange. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Talking Locs with Locitude podcast. It is the Everyday People with Locs series, and today we're discussing Locs and Love. And I'm so curious to even get into the conversation and try to figure out if Locs and Love is even a thing, or if that was a thing for you and Isabella. So I will start by first asking you guys to tell me a little bit about yourselves, like your name and what you do, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, Isabella, do you want to go first?
Okay, thank you, Ayo. You guys call him Michael and Mr. Melange, but I call him Ayo because he's the joy of my life. My name is Isabella Eboluwa Chukugosimuzo Adediji, and yes, I'm very proud of my names, including the one I just collected, Adediji. I always try and make sure I pronounce it properly, not saying Adediji. So it's Adediji. I'm a creative. I'm a media entrepreneur and educationist. Basically means that I host events, I present on radio and television, I do voiceovers, I write, I edit, I proofread, I model, and I also, I'm very passionate about education, so I have educational media products or media programs, and I used to teach and work in corporate communication. So I'm just selling my market just in case I don't put me in the box.
Wow, fantastic. So Ayo, I'll come back to all of that, Isabella, but let's let Ayo tell us about himself. Sorry, Michael, Mr. Melange.
Yeah, you said it now. I don't need to introduce myself very well. Yeah, exactly. So I'm Michael Adediji. That's what's on my birth certificate. Mr. Melange is something that it's a name I gave myself in 2001, and it's kind of grown, on everyone around me. What do I do presently? I am a creative as well. So that's one of the things that we have in common. I presently lead a creative team in a marketing communications agency, where I provide marketing strategy, branding, design, and creatives for most of the brands that here in Nigeria, from financial institutions to FMCGs, some notable brands. I wouldn't want to be giving them free adverts on your podcast.
Yeah, please don't, so that they can come back and sponsor one of the upcoming podcasts.
But that's the major bit of what I do. I started off as an art director in advertising 11 years ago, but I've grown over the years to do the whole gamut of being a creative leader or creative director in an agency. On the side, I love singing. That's one of my hobbies. So, in fact, I think that was the origin of Mr. Melange. I always thought that I was going to be a musician. So, I did a lot of songwriting in my early 20s, late teens and early 20s. A few of them, I know I had a track that was co-written with co-bands at the time.
Loud it, name dropping.
I think that was one of my biggest highlights. I know there was a school. It was a put it out as a competition at the time, and I went in with a friend of mine, his blessed memory. We wrote the song together, and it became the school's school anthem till date. I've had a feature in about 3 different albums for people. So yeah, I think that was a career for me at the time because I made money from it. But I switched, so I haven't been doing. Okay, I kind of did one a few weeks ago for Isabella. But it just brought back memories. She had a project and I helped her to do a song for the radio show, and that was me. Reminding myself that I could still
I hope you got paid for it.
Before
I
thought it was just.
No, if it was a personal project, I wouldn't.
Okay. I thought the love was just covering everything. Okay. Well, I do have a ton of questions for you guys. I'm not even sure where to start from. But one of the places we like to start from on the podcast after introductions is just asking how long you've had your locks. So at least that helps us to set some context for the listeners about how long your hair is. So Isabella, do you want to go first?
Yes, because you're part of this story. I started my locks very, very tiny. I done gorimapa, shaved my head, I'd experimented baby curls, and just before I did my passing out parade here in Nigeria for the compulsory National Youth Service, I decided to go and lock the hair. So it was really, really short. And a few years later, that was in 2012, October 2012. A few years later, I meet Ade, and Ade is like, I'm not going to touch your locks. Like, there are too many. I'm like, Ade, now, please. I'm like, no. I mean, Ade does pitches against interlocking. But for her to touch my hair, I had to go and interlock some of them. So some of them are 3-in-1, 2-in-1, pick and drop. And then I've been going to Locitude ever since. I bleached my hair there, and now some of it has cut off. And I feel like, I enjoyed the fashion, but look at Ayo that just started his locks when he tried to chance me that his own is longer than mine. But so yes, 2012, sorry, to 2021.
Okay.
Yes, that's how I had my locks.
Okay, I feel like I have to defend myself here. So so first of all, when I met you, I did not understand what sister locks were, and I felt like there was no way I could do it. So I was just being honest. I didn't want to put you in my chair and not do your hair the way you wanted. So that's 1. 2, before you bleached your hair, we warned you that your hair was going to cut. But we wanted the color, so we went with the color. So I have now defended myself. Ayo, please, can we go ahead and know how long you've had your locks?
So before I started the locks that I have now, I think this is my 3rd trial. And
okay.
I think the first time I tried it, I think I was my 100 level. I just got into school, freedom. I thought I always loved to carry hair, afro. So I thought, okay, if I don't come here for a while with lock, I didn't really know, how locks were done, but I left it to just be natural, and then I started, twisting them with my hands, and it started forming something. But again, that was a time in my life when I still had to go back home for halls. I had a military father, a retired military father. So how would I explain to him? That I'm coming back with locks, so I always had to, untangle the thing. I tried it again when I got my first apartment. I felt like, I'm a man of my own now. I've got my own job. Let me try locks again. But the start is always very ugly. So a lot of people were like frowning that, fine boy, why are you spoiling your looks with?
Who say you're a fine boy?
Everybody now. That's what they say.
Please. When did you start?
All right. It's what I say.
Resist the urge to shalaye.
So finally, when I hit the big 30, I was like, yay, I'm a man of my own, nobody can tell me nothing. And I wanted to express, I'm, in the industry that I'm at or that I work in, it's not a taboo, right? I don't work in a bank. I'm not a corporate white collar kind of guy. I work in a place that allow people be themselves. So if I'm a creative and I wanted to show, my creativity by how I wear my hair, and I thought this was the time. I'm 30, I'm a man of my own, and that was how I thought to do it. So I can't remember the exact month, but I know one of the things that spurred me to, starting it and, being dedicated or, what's the word now? I really just wanted to just do it. It was when I turned 30, and that was 2014. Yes, but
so you are not adding. So you are going to be 36 this year. So if you are going to be 36 this year, you are still 35. So 6 minus 21, that's 2015. 2015, yes.
But I was born in 84, so how can I be 30 in 2015? What's your maths?
Okay, so Okay, 2015. Yes, correct. It's 2015.
Yeah, so I remember April 2015 going for the first time to a loctician, right? But I started the process on my own after my birthday, September 2014.
Okay, all right. Yeah. But you definitely have both spent some time with locked hair independently. Now, how did you guys meet? And was your hair part of the story?
Let me take it because we both have different versions to how we met. Funny enough, wasn't part of the story as such.
Please, you said that I was looking scruffy, that my hair was scruffy. So how would you have noticed my hair? Please, come on.
It doesn't touch. I didn't say, oh, she's very long, I love her. No, it wasn't that.
Yes, but if the hair was nicely packed and styled, then you might not have said, oh, I had this scruffy look about me.
So when the scruffy becomes sexy.
Oh my God.
No, I'm saying that the locks at that time were not yet styled.
Did you hear a question?
Yes. How did we meet and did locks play a part? And I'm saying,
what was you saying? I'm saying you see missing on the scarf. You have to do it. Answer that question.
Because when you met me, your first impression, including my locks, was like, oh, this scruffy girl.
But I didn't tell you right there and then. This is what I told you after.
So yes, it's fine. And I've accepted you for judging me.
Okay.
Okay. Questions what I'm saying. You have shalaye to a wrong
Okay, may I come in? Because I think I'm deducing the answers here. So I feel like Michael saw Isabella and was like, what a beautiful girl with scruffy hair.
It wasn't that. So it was not like jumping here. I was looking for like work as I always do. So one of his colleagues is a daughter of one of my ogas in my former office, or madam at the top. So I'd seen her at another event I was working at, and she asked me what I did, and just like this podcast, I said all the different things I did, and voiceover stood out. And she said, oh, I work in marketing communications agency, send over your sample. So I sent over my voiceover sample. Then a few weeks later, I bump into her at yet another event, and I'm like, babe, how far now? Voiceover and everything. And she's like, see that guy over there? If you go and talk to him, he's the creative director. He can sort you out with this voiceover thing. So me too, plenty people wanted to talk to him. I went to join the queue, and I was just myself that look, I do voiceovers, I'm a model, I write, I'm on radio, I host events and all of that. I saw the locks, but I was just like, he's a creative guy, like that's part of them, that's how they look in their industry, big deal. But at that point when I was going to meet him, I was just going there as somebody that had a service to offer.
Really. Okay.
I didn't checking me out already, but it's okay.
Okay, but you know that
walked me to my card.
Oh,
gentleman.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. Okay. I'm really trying to deduce the cocoa of this story here, because now let me summarize it. Boy meets girl, Boy notices girl.
Yeah.
Girl is looking for work. Boy walks girl to
Yeah.
her car and clocks
Yeah.
girl, including her scruffy hair. And then boy and
Yes.
girl fell in love.
Yes. So
I
we
don't
fell in
really
love.
find in love like that.
Those things I didn't read. Like you don't fall in love in that instance. Like you just get an interest to maybe continue the conversation, which I would thank her for. You know, driving the first conversations, right? So when we got home or the next day, she checked up on me, chatted me up, and from all those little chats. So okay, what are you doing now? What are you eating now? What's the plan for the day? Oh, I'm going shopping, and she's helping me pick out stuff for colleagues. I think I was visiting. I was visiting a colleague who had a baby, and she was instrumental to picking the right.
Yes.
All those little things started adding up, and then I was, I had a brother who doesn't live in Nigeria, and he was around at the time, and I used to sound things by him, and I started, sounding the situation by him and sharing the pictures she was sharing, with me. I'm like, see this babe, like, it's fine. I'm like, I'll go for it now, that kind of. But giving me all the motivational gist that I needed, and then we had an outing.
I was oblivious to the fact that you liked me, just to keep that in there. I thought this was all friendly, and I'm just, making myself memorable so that when the job comes, I'll be top of mind. Because at that time, I was en route to another person like that I'd been talking to and everything, and I says he saved me, like like the GPS. I was going in the wrong direction.
A very wrong direction. No, I don't know if I should go all out to tell you how that will have ended.
Like
I almost feel like I know a little bit about that story.
No, you don't know that particular one.
Okay.
The first time he came to my house, he didn't even know, but my dad was there. So I just casually mentioned it when he was already near the door that, by the way, my dad gave me a lift from church. I'm just finishing up some cooking. My friend's about to come on TV. I want to see that. I'll get ready. And he came in, and I know it must have been awkward, like, hey, who goes to a girl's house and first thing sees her dad? And there I was, I started cooking all these different pots of soup. I was like, dude, are you hungry? He's like, yeah, I'm not eating anything. I'm like, there's food. You're not stressing me. Just choose one soup that you want. The soup was en route to another man's house. Let's just say that.
Oh my God.
The next day, the soups never made it out of Lagos. I was actually cooking those soups to carry it out of Lagos, enter public transport.
Well, Michael, Mr. Melange, I just want to say thank you very much for saving my friend and pointing her in the right direction and rearranging the compass.
You say that are not truthful to girls.
Okay, this has been interesting so far. Now, I really want to ask a very important question. Two of you have locks, and now you are both married, living in the same house, under the same roof. Who is in charge of hair products?
Okay, I don't use hair products. I mean, like, I see him locking his hair or palm rolling it, or okay, this is even a very good example. The first time I came to his house, he literally went to his room, brought out hair products, told me to sit down on the floor, and started palm rolling my hair. Like,
oh my God! If this is not love, what is?
Like, he was just like, just come and sit down. Let me do the hair for you. So I think that already shows who is more in tune with their locks and cares more. But I have to take credit for the fact that I told him that he should stop using beeswax, because Locitude said you don't use beeswax, that you use moisture-based oils and moisturizers. So I think I'm good with steering him in the right path, and he is good in implementing, the right things. But he's a bit stubborn because I still see him going to use the beeswax and the products that.
I think it's beeswax. And what I use that you don't like is what's that one that
gel,
like having the photography stuff, the one for the edges.
Edge control.
Edge control, yeah. So she hates it because for her she thinks it gives her, but the one I got, it doesn't give her those flakes.
The flakes. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Now, just speaking to locks and relationship in itself. I do know that as a woman who has locks and has had locks for almost 12 years, one of the questions that I've always had was, what would you do on your wedding day with your hair? And who will marry you with this hair? So that's what I get as a woman. And then Ayo, Ayo, Michael, Mr. Melange, I've called all your names on this podcast.
You have it. My mom calls him a different name. I call him another name.
So just go with it. Anyone I call, please go with it. I can only imagine what it's like though in your own world. First of all, I would say the question. I would like Isabella to answer first, not because she's a woman, but because locks are more frowned at for men. When you told your family, Isabella, that this is the man I want to marry, and they saw his hair, what was their reaction?
I think man I want to marry was even far. Like, let's start with guy toasting me or boyfriend, then fiance. I think by and large, my parents were cool with it because I also have locks. And I think there was a sense of like my other family members, like say granny, grandparents. So my maternal grandmother is Caucasian, so that was really, she doesn't have an issue with it. My paternal grandmother, who is late now, once she saw him, told me, oh, he's handsome, I like him. And I think her prayer, I need you to marry, I need you to marry, I need you to bring someone, Mokowale, which means bring husband to the house. So I think for some people, they were able to overlook whatever, idiosyncrasies or whatever bias they had. The only person that I knew that was a bit concerned about the locks was my stepmother, who is very fashionable, which was quite surprising. And she just like, everything is okay, but these locks. And then she never really liked me having locks because she felt that locks were something that older married women did, and I was younger and I didn't need to like make myself look much older. I mean, she too has been praying for the husband, so I think it was a little fact that she just had to overlook, but she did express her concern and like, oh, how I wish she didn't have these locks. But the funny thing is that my younger brother tries to do locks, and my stepmom will be like, well, do what you're doing in school. When you come back to this house, you can't come late, bro. So yes, that's just her her beliefs on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And Michael, how was that for you on your own part when you were bringing a woman that had locked hair? Did they even, was it a thing at all, or were they more concerned for you as a man having locks?
So bringing her to my family wasn't even a concern. Like you said, it's rare for people to frown at ladies carrying locks. So it was never a conversation. It was never a thing to mention. But interestingly, I had thought about it for myself. Well, many years ago when I started it, I was thinking to myself, how would I look? Would I look responsible, to the families of the bride or the woman that I would want to marry? I thought about it. When I started falling in love with my hair more and more, and I loved the length, I was thinking about it that, does it mean I would have to cut this hair to look the part, to please, my wife's family? I used to ask myself those questions until, somebody just told me that, oh, it's possible to cut your locks and relock it after. So like, oh, wow, okay, that's what I would fall back to in the worst case scenario. So, if they're so traditional, the worst I would do is go cut it, keep it, and then when the whole wedding is done, the day after the wedding, I'm going to go fix my hair back, But luckily for me, I met a family that didn't care. I think they saw past it, right? So it was, character, the person, the personality, and that has happened almost in almost every facet of my life. I am a worker in church. I can imagine church, they are one of the folks that frown against this kind of thing the most. So imagine me being a worker that is in your face, like you can't miss me, right? I get so a few people, carry a smirk or carry a face around, so that you don't like it, but my the leadership of my church, the leadership of my departments are okay with it because they are more what would I say? Yeah, they're more open-minded. So I felt that was the first battle I had to fight. After fighting the battle with family, I fought the battle with church. I won that. So the next battle was with who I would get married to and their families. And Isabella's family, paternal and maternal, it was easy breezy. It's almost like the hair was not there, right? Yes, it wasn't an issue, and we could see that even on the wedding day, there was nobody. Instead, people were admiring our hair.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was the pictures and all of that was so beautiful. Like I was really, really proud to have been a part of it in one way or the other, and at some point I had to stop myself because I could see myself projecting what I personally wanted to be on Isabella's hair. And I think about a week before, I was just like, Isabella, wait a minute. What did you say you wanted again? Because I'm beginning to do
I'm going to report Ade
what I want.
Anytime we had those conversations, I'll say, Ayo said this. At a point, she was really worried and she called me. I was like, what exactly do you want? Because all I'm hearing is Ayo said. And I'm like, Ade, look, this wedding is the last thing on my mind. Like, if someone can choose the hairstyle, you tell me what to work for me. I'm thinking about honeymoon. Like, the wedding was so stressful. Like, that's why you have professionals. As far as I was concerned, with Locitude, I didn't have to think about anything because they know me. They've done other weddings before. So, I mean, I'm not a guinea pig. And I'm glad that in the end, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't want what I wanted to take over what will work with the dress and what, I trust Ayo because Ayo is a creative and he's more particular about looks. For me, I can leave my hair and just go scruffy and I'm okay. So that was why. But I think in the end, we're able to work with what everybody wanted and what was best for the dress, the veil, and the day. And I liked the hair accessory and the professionalism. And shout out to Locitude because, as usual, everything is lastminute.com. We're trying to do so many things that way, And they just, I washed my hair on the day of the wedding. Like, come on, who does that? And the hair was literally drying as they tied Kelly. And as soon as we finished trad, they started working on my hair, and it came out so beautiful. And even after the white wedding and the reception, they still did a hairstyle for the after party. Yeah. So that is almost like wash. Okay, I washed my hair, but they relocked it. They styled it twice.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean,
it was just last week. A colleague of mine who was at the wedding, she saw me because I still work virtually. We rarely see ourselves physically, but she saw me physically last week, and she was, commenting, and she was saying how our hair was so beautiful. My wife's was beautiful. My hair was shining. She asked, "Did you do it that day?" I said, "Yes." It was. They were hands on. They were there throughout. To change the looks, even though I didn't change my look, but it looked fresh, all through.
Oh, I'm so happy, and it was such a pleasure to be of service.
And I report Ayo, like it's rain, it's like 11:45 that night. He's going to go and do friction, and then the next morning he's doing friction.
So the second one I did it was Locitude that said I needed to do Locitude. That sorry, I'm so sorry, Ade.
No, it's okay. Go on. It happens.
I loved geography so much, so that stuck. That's it. I thought about it that usually when guys groom their hair for their wedding day, they do it a night before. Most of my elder ones, like my elder cousins, when I was with them, I knew they used to visit the salon closer to their wedding. It's a tricky situation to do it on your wedding day, right? Mm-hmm. But these days, here now, they can always get someone to come do a home service, right? I didn't think of it at the time. So the night before, it was busy nights before we had Isabella, we were going up and down to try and get our COVID test done.
Yes.
Because we were traveling.
And I still went to my friend's house at 12 midnight.
Yeah, so it was a very busy night. So she's judging me now, but what I was trying to do was save myself on that morning, right? Mm-hmm. So I go have the grooming done, at least the front parts, get it shaved, or all the shaving done right, and then your guys came in to do the rest in the morning. But by the time she was done, because it wasn't done before the shaving, the shaving is usually done after the twisting, right?
Hair, yes.
Yeah, so when she was done, we saw that they still needed to work on the edges. And so we had to call the barber to come do the home service to clean it up. And it all worked out, and we still got to the
Yeah.
venue.
It did work out. It did work out. I just feel like, so, Isabella is a very special person, and Isabella, sorry, I'm talking about you like you're
Thank
not here with
you.
us.
That's special to Adi.
But the thing was that I know that you are very opinionated. So my worry was that when we were talking about your wedding, we were planning it so many months before the wedding. And I couldn't find Isabella in it. I was like, oh, what about your dress? Like, oh, my mom likes it. What about the veil? Oh, ask Ayo. What about your hair? Whatever you want, Ade. And I'm like, Isabella, please, where are you in this wedding? I need Isabella.
It was involved with the catering because I did some catering for the wedding the night before. I had my friends come over. They helped me. Shout out to Tayo and Shola. And I also did some of the prepping the night before. And then the next day, they had some of my food like cooked and served at the wedding. So that was important to me. The honeymoon was extremely important to me, and the traditional outfits. So I think I put my foot down. I doesn't really like lemon green, olive green like that. And he says that he looked like all these people from what Tales by Moonlight or Things Fall Apart kind of storyline.
So there were compromises on both sides.
So,
there were things that she compromised on.
But I think apart from the traditional outfit for the wedding, everything else I was easy with, because I was also thinking about cost, life after the wedding, and then I think because of the work I do as a host, I get dolled up and wear nice clothes when I'm hosting events, so I can always relieve that fantasy, on someone else's bill.
I like that, on someone else's bill. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to move on a little bit. Have you guys thought about this? When you do have children, are you going to lock their hair?
Yes.
Is that even a question? We need to be happy if we don't bring them to Locitude studio. You just hire that nice one.
Yes.
See, I'm already ready for any school that will tell me any rubbish, because me, I'll just give it to them. I'll say, come, have you seen our father? Have you seen his father? Have you seen me? So what? I went to the University of Cambridge. What are you saying? Please. No, see, it is when they are 18 years old and they've left the house. They don't want to do this lock business. It's fine, but as long as they are eating our
Under your roof.
you lock it or you shave Gorimapa.
Lock nation.
Yes, lock family.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to the little Isabellas and Michaels with locks. I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
Did you know our wedding hashtag?
Locs in Love. Did I get it right?
It did have luck in it, and it was intentional. And then because of the season, although we chose it before lockdown, but it kind of still worked, with the season. So love lockdown is what
Love lockdown. You see, I tried. I was very close.
I lock for LOC.
Yeah.
I mean, there was someone, he's a brand guy, or he's into like what's it called, advertising, marketing, and once he saw that hashtag, he just got it and he said, look, I would love to be at your wedding. And I invited him for the wedding because he was just blown away by the hashtag, like love lockdown. So yeah, like we're very big on our locks. Like you can't tell us anything.
Oh. Okay, so you guys seem to have been experiencing a lot of positive energy around being a locked couple. That's what I'm sensing from the vibes I'm getting. But do you guys have any negativity? Do you guys see people somewhere and they just look at you like a crazy locked couple that don't have ambition or something? Most of us who have locks usually at some point get somebody trying to put us down because of our hair choice, even though I don't understand why. But do you ever experience anything like that?
As a couple, I'm not sure.
No, not as a couple, but I think as an individual, there was always that sense of, okay, when you are getting married, maybe you do weave on, or you will maybe redo this your hair, or there was always that second doubting, like, okay, maybe it's a phase, you grow out of it, it will not almost like represent your true beauty. But I believe that if you're working with professionals, they can always bring out that beauty and do what you want. And I think locks are so versatile that you might have locks and somebody else will think it's braids, somebody else will think is it depends on how it's full locks, how it is styled. So I think because of the versatility, I think when the locks are shorter, that's when people are just like, you're mad, this is not working.
Yeah, we've gone past that stage.
Yes, I did get some of that, like someone asking me like, what's on your hair? And I was like, yeah, I'm locks. Like, almost like, what, you two, are you blind? Can you not see? What kind of question is that? But yeah, when people try to be ridiculous like that, you just inform them. But I'm glad that you did your TEDx talk talking about locks. You've been on TV talking about locks. You're doing this podcast, and I'm always quick to correct people like you taught us that it's not dreadlocks, but they are locks. I mean, dreadful about them.
Yeah,
clap for me. I'm a good student now.
Yeah, you should have just ended by saying thank you for coming to my TED talk. Oh my, this has been a lot of fun already. I think we've already gone past the half-hour mark, and I'm looking at myself saying, okay, have I even asked half of the questions that I want to ask? But I'm really happy for you both, and I'm happy that as a couple, you're making a statement. And when I did post your pictures on our Instagram page I haven't even posted, I'm still saving the wedding proper pictures, but I did post like pre-wedding photos, and I know our Instagram went crazy. People were so happy. People commented saying that these are the official Nigerian first Locs couple that we know.
Let them give us reality show. We're ready. We're ready. It's not family.
I'll definitely be penning this down for my producer. There's an opportunity here. We have a couple that is likely open for a reality show. So, speaking about the reality show that is your real life, we do know that Michael sometimes helps you to get your hair done. Isabella, do you help Michael get his hair done as well?
Yeah. Okay, so in the early stages, when love is shocking you and everything, he told me one day I should help him palm roll it. I did it, and he said I should weave it. I wove it. The next morning he loosened it, so strike one. I was like, me. After I did all that hard work, he now went to loosen my work.
It wasn't nice.
It's okay. If it wasn't nice, why didn't you tell me to stop it?
I wanted to sleep with you so that at least it would have some curls when I loosen it.
So I don't like the fact that a lot of times he comes to like do over Sabi, he'll come and be like, come, let me do your hair, or wear this what is it called, like hair slide, hair band, or let me pack it for you, let me tie it for you. But yesterday I helped you when you were taking your picture for NIN.
You were putting sat down.
So yes, he's the one that is more proactive, trying to help me out. Me, you can leave locks are not meant to be stressed. Like the scalp is very sensitive. So any of that kind of thing is too much wahala and stress,
Okay, all right. I see that the gender norms that you probably think that would follow through. One would think that in a Locs couple relationship, that the woman will always be the one doing the hair, but we can see that the roles are very well reversed here. And I personally feel like I'm probably going to end up with a bald man because I don't want to share my hair products. I don't want to share my hair products, and I don't want to be doing hair is already my work. I don't want to come home and be doing your hair. So I think I'm going to be strategic about my own decision when it comes to love. Yeah.
I think it's unfair what Ayo does. Like he peppers me that his locks are healthier than mine because he did not bleach his hair. And then during this lockdown, I don't know what he was on, but it didn't just grew, and he thinks it's longer than mine. But I know mine. I mean, if I add all those gold patches, some of them are still here. So I would use some of the gold patches and use it to be longer than yours. But yeah, his hair has grown so Yeah, Odu, like it's grown so long, like it's paining me. Like, dude, how bad? And it's so full. Ah,
Well,
it's
Isabella, it
horrible.
can be you as well. We just listen to Locitude next time we tell you not to color your hair. But okay.
Yeah.
But going back to color, would you ever do it again? It was really nice though. I remember styling you for some portraits that you wanted to do way back in
Yes.
2016 when we just got the color done and it was popping. The hair was really beautiful.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it. But see what I do now. Anytime, like one of my friends, she dipped all the edges inside gold. I just told her, I said, all of this will fall off. Enjoy it now, but best believe it will fall off.
But it
So,
does take time though. It takes a few years.
yes, it takes a few years, and that's when it will pain you because then you'd have achieved so much growth. And then sometimes I will just see the thing. I'll be like, can you just stay? Can you just stay? Then the thing will just fall off, or I'll just yank it away. So I enjoyed it. I do want to color my hair again. I'm looking at silver and maybe also like become a brunette. Yeah, so that doesn't take too much. That doesn't strip the hair cuticle of so much of its color. Mr. Roger has taught me well, the trichologist, the resident Mr. Locitude. Hello, shout out to Mr. Roger.
Okay, I think this has been the funnest podcast I have recorded so far. Okay. Now, I have a question for you, Michael. What if you come back home from work one day and Isabella has cut off her hair? How would that make you feel?
She teases me with it. She threatens me with it so once in a while. I know she wouldn't do it, but if she ever does it, I'll just save it for her.
Okay.
Knowing that I want to wear it back.
Okay, fair enough. And Isabella, what if you came back from work one day and then you saw Mr. Melange with no hair at all? How would that make you feel?
I will take the locks and attach it to my own the length that I want. And I'll go and do what is it called, topless shoot, because then the locks will be long enough to cover my boobs. So yes, that's what I will do.
Isabella, I know that is in reference to me. I don't think you've actually seen the actual topless pictures. The actual topless pictures exist, and yes, I worked for it, for my hair to become so long that it covered my boobs, and my boobs also did not, grow in the opposite direction. I was lucky that my hair was able to catch up. Oh my god. All right. This again, I just keep saying it's fun because it's just been a lot of fun so far. I think we're almost getting to the end so that we don't end up with a podcast that is too long. But there are a few things that I've learned from you guys already. There's just genuineness about your relationship, and I see that hair does play a part in your everyday lives, being that you share one thing in common, having locks. And then you did say that Isabella did say quite clearly that love is all about compromise. And it does sound like for your relationship to work so far, Ayo has had to compromise on using beeswax, and Isabella has had to compromise on getting her hair done a little bit more often and not looking scruffy as day one when we met. There's also something important which doesn't really relate to the hair, but I picked off from you as a life lesson when I was talking about all the things that I felt you were not fussing about during the wedding or before the wedding, and you said you were more concerned about life after the wedding. And so so that's that kind of really just stuck with me, and I felt I should say it again so that it does stick. And so far so good. It's almost beginning to seem to me that being a couple with locks is way better than being single with locks. So maybe I should start looking for a locked man, and even if I find a bald man, maybe I'll get him to do one lock at the back of his hair so that he will not be using as so maybe I'll be able to get away with that. So I have one last question for you guys before I let you go because it's quite late. Just one last question. if there's anyone out there, Isabella, you first, who is admiring this guy that has locks and is thinking, oh my God, it's just going to be way too much hassle taking him to my family, and if she's also like me who doesn't want to share her products with him, what advice do you have for those of us out there in being in a relationship with somebody who has locks?
I think in any relationship, being honest and open is very key. If you're hating on his looks, tell him outright, like, guy, you're too fine. Like, what is it? Are you a musician? Are you a creative? Are you Samson? If I cut off these locks, will your power go? I mean, there's nothing that should be off limits. People should be able to discuss anything and everything. If you feel it's going to be an issue to your family, then you can speak to them about it. And I think the option that Ayo gave is a very valid option where you can compromise and say, okay, for the purpose of getting married and meeting my parents, maybe you want to trim off the locks and then later on you can put it back on. But I would advise rather that you accept somebody for who they are, accept him with his locks. If it's about the product, or more, maybe that would be his Christmas gift, his Valentine's gift, his anniversary gift. You just be buying lock products. And then stand up to your parents, stand up to anybody. How you wear your hair does not determine the content of your character, the kind of person you're going to be as a husband or a father, a brother-in-law. So, I mean, we need to have conversations beyond just what's on the hair. And tomorrow it can always change. I mean, I think about this photographer, and I think his wife also had locks. I'm not sure. JOP, yeah, Jide Odukoya. And he's cut his locks. I mean, Adebantu cut his locks. Polu Storms loosened her locks. So people can change. I mean, tomorrow Ade will just tell me that, something happened though. Orisha told her to cut off the locks.
I'm seriously considering it actually.
But me, I'll be angry with you, Sha. You come and face the naughty corner here.
Right. Okay. All right. And I also, what is your advice to men out there who are potentially looking to date a woman with locks, whether or not they have locks? Can you also give them some tips about how to care for your woman's locks? Because I think that is very important.
Yeah. So first I'll say everything that Isabella said, but it's quite different because, again, with ladies and locks, it isn't frowned upon much. For all you know, some guys don't even know the difference between locks and braids, and they don't really care.
So that is not true, because I did have like an ex-boyfriend who was very particular about my hair.
I said some.
And some of them want relaxed hair or Brazilian hair or Peruvian.
Okay, so that's another thing. But again, there's this other set of men, which I think I belong to, who believe that girls with natural hair are
beautiful. Just say it. Thank you. Just say it.
Let me not say it. I'm feminist, now come after me. But yes, it's not say I'm part of it. But there are some guys who actually prefer ladies with natural hair because they feel they are less of a high maintenance. Right?
I thought you were going to say that we're beautiful and we're like queens and princesses.
The economics of
so the thing, some guys are scared for girls who are very into bone straight hair.
Isabella, I think we need to increase our prices at Locitude so that these men can know that we need some maintenance money.
Yeah, but the advice, guys, just let them understand what locks is about. It's really for ladies. Understand what care it needs. That's when they want to give their lady, they know what exactly they're giving her. What the equivalent of bone straight wigs is to it with locks. Just so that they can play their part. But yeah, it's for them to understand. I don't think, especially guys who don't wear it or have never worn it, they may not understand, how to care for it or what the ladies do to look great still with locks on. So yeah.
All right, thank you very much. And every now and then they can learn how to palm roll. We have videos on YouTube.
I was waiting for you to say that. Also, Instagram, or refer them to Locitude page.
You can tell her to sit on the floor and oil her scalp.
I'm now a Locitude.
Yeah, so you didn't have any choice.
I didn't have a choice. Those are the compromise, you know. So this is the thing, I never liked going to salons. She knows it. So I'd rather someone come to me. Right, but she came into my life. It's Locitude, it's Locitude. I was like, I don't have a choice. I have to follow her to
Thank you so much, Isabella. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't worry, we'll have a free package waiting for you.
Locitude model confirmed.
All right, guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you very much for doing this with us. And we just put this series together so that people who are considering locks and people who misconstrue people who have locks can just get to know that we are everyday people. There's no difference between you and I and anyone else out there who chooses to wear their hair differently. It's just basically a choice, and it is our lifestyle. Which is like natural thing and the easiest thing that you could do for yourself, if I may say. So thanks, guys, and have a good evening.
Ade, you didn't say how I always used to disturb everybody at Locitude Studio that is working there and they don't have locks. But you see what has happened. All the non-lock people, they are no longer there. Everybody in the studio is locked.
Okay, I know we had already said our goodbyes, but let me say this again. Let me say it where I always tell you. Hair is a choice, and for every one of Locitude staff who is with us now that actually has locks, have come without locks, and it is not a requirement for them to have locks. They usually start doing the hair, start seeing people's hair grow, and then they realize that it can be them too. So it's a personal decision. So in as much as I feel like I shouldn't be discriminated against or stereotyped for wearing my hair locked, I try as much as possible not to stereotype people for their hair choices as well. If not, it will just be going around in the same circle. So it's just respecting people's choices. But I'm happy that people convert when they come to Locitude. So Isabella, thanks for being the gatekeeper.
Yeah, thank you. Because now I'm not doing God's work.
All right then. Good night. Have a good one, and I'm sure I would be in touch with you guys soon.
It was nice.
We miss you, Ade. Love you, Ade. Well done. Good job. Awesome.
Thank you. All right then. Bye.
Bye.
I did say that Isabella is one of the most expressive people that I know, but it is always exciting speaking to her, and I am so happy she has found Ayo, who's added even so much more color to her life. Oh my, what an episode. Well, in our next episode, we're going to be exploring locks and fitness. This upcoming episode is going to be packed with a lot of information. It's going to be educative and fun. There is something in it for everyone, and I do hope you do watch out for it. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Talking Locks podcast with Locitude. It has been such a pleasure being your host. My name again is Adediji, and thanks to our producer, Savage Media. Please don't forget to follow us on social media. We are at Locitude, Locitude, and you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And for more interesting podcast episodes on Everyday People with Locks, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. We are currently on Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. And don't forget to keep it locked with an attitude. Bye.